You got enough food here, buddy? You got enough food? You guys throw all the healthy stuff out and you only eat the rubbish. Whoa! Oh! I'll catch you later. Take a dust bath in the sun. Enjoy your day. We gotta do stuff. I'm in a slight, well, state of panic because boss woman is coming back this weekend, so I gotta make sure that everything is tip-top in order. Yeah, this all needs to dry. I'll give it another 24 hours and then I can start sanding and start with the rendering. So today, well, apart from tidying up a little before boss lady comes here, and oh yeah, I gotta clean, I gotta do the laundry, I gotta take a shower maybe even. No, panic. I was planning to work in the basement, organizing the water lines, but I realized I really hate working in the basement. And why do I hate working in the basement? I hate working in the basement because there's not enough light, and I like to have a lot of light around me. Why is there not a lot of light? Because the electricity hasn't been hooked up. Why hasn't the electricity been hooked up? Well, because I can start pulling and lines everywhere and cutting channels in the wall, but you know, you should start with the origins, right? And this here is at the moment our electrical situation here. You know, this is where the electricity comes in the house. I usually go by, if it doesn't spark too much, you're probably right. But I gotta seriously organize this, and I bought a what do you call it? A switchboard, I guess. Yeah, fuses and all that stuff that you need. So I'm gonna figure out how to install it. Yeah, without disconnecting us from the power for the moment. Gotta sort of install it parallel, I guess, but before I can start installing it, I need to remove some old cabling that's redundant, it's not in use. Tidy it up a little, vacuum some cobwebs. So yeah, I better get started with that. And then tomorrow we go back to the fun stuff, and that is rendering the bathroom. Well, 50% of it, maybe a little bit more than 50%, but yeah, we'll do that tomorrow. Let's get to work. Yeah, I guess I'll just start by removing cabling of which I know that it's not in use. Okay, so here my power is coming in. You see the red and blue cable. That is my power, and that is going through all these Wago connectors, and that's how I'm currently using power. My ground is still hooked up with the ground that's coming into the house, so that's sort of safe. But now I want to remove this old switchboard, and I just gotta make sure that it's not live. And I just see this cable coming from behind the electricity box and going in there, and I don't know what that cable is, so I gotta identify it. That is probably the feed. That's probably these two old cables you see there. They were obviously hooked up, and I think they're going into that conduit feeding this box. Yeah, I just gotta make it sure. So I'll just remove carefully the conduit, the outer shell, so that I can identify this cable because it's a much thicker cable, because I got to make sure that I know what I'm disconnecting and what I'm cutting. Yeah, I'm not an electrician, but with some basic knowledge and some logical thinking and patience, you come quite far. It's just simple electronics, right? Electrics, it's 50 Hertz, 240 volt. It's just one system. On the boats I used to work on, we often had 240, 24 DC, 12 volt DC, and some of the older boats even had 12 volt DC, 24 volt DC, 36 volt DC, 60 Hertz, 110 AC, and 240, 50 Hertz. Not that I was any good with that, but still, you know, just wanted to mention it. So just disconnected the power coming into the house and rerouted the earth. So this box is now doing nothing anymore. So that's going to the tip, or the déchetterie in French. Wow, wow, that fits. That is great. That saves me a lot of work, because this is the fiber, the box for the fiber for the 4G or 5G or whatever internet, and I should not be touching that. Well, and that's obviously the part from the government, from the electrical department or whatever you call it. I shouldn't be touching that either. I can, but then we have to call in the electricians from the government. But this is fantastic. It's great. I can just run my cables from here into this box and then run my cables from this box, and it fits. We just have to build a little cupboard around it or something later on. I'm really pleased about that. What I'll do, because this wall is not rendered yet, but what I'll just do is I'll cut a plank to size so that this box sits off the wall a little, so that we can render later around it. Yeah, that would be nice, but I'm very pleased. Cool. Let's cut some wood and mount it on a wooden board. Well, I have to admit that I had to repair this thing a few times. I tested it under water pressure, normal water pressure, and it was leaking and it was a bit askew, because this pipe was a bit leaning in, and there's a whole long pipe going to be there, so that's really exaggerated. You see it very clearly. So I had to well, basically take the whole thing apart and do it again, because when you start heating up one solder seam, the other one gets hot as well and starts melting and came off. So it was quite an ordeal, but I think it is now 100% watertight, apart from some of the screw fittings, the clamp fittings, but that's easily repaired afterwards. But as a result of all this soldering, the thing doesn't look that great anymore. And you know, a bit of a rustic look is what we are after in this house, and with this piece as well. But this is a bit too rustic to our liking. So there's no other choice than to polish it up. I think later over time it will corrode and become rustic again, but I can't present this to Nadia when she arrives Friday evening, huh? So I just let's buff it up and make it look good. Yeah, now it looks a bit shinier than we want to have it. I still need to file the excess solder off, but yeah, it will get dull. It will get dull. We don't want it shiny like this. It's not the style we want, but it will get dull. It looks a bit better now. Going to be a very exciting day today. We're going to put on the first layers of rendering on the wall. I got to do a little bit more sanding, then put on 2 primer coats, and then start rendering. We rendered the concrete blocks with a white Portland cement mortar, and we rendered the traditional stone walls with a white lime mortar. But before we start rendering, we put up the reinforcement in the corners. Let's get started. Now, last screw, and then we should be ready. My ground is connected to the ground bus, and then where the power goes into the house is also connected to 1 breaker. For the moment 20 amp, I'm not using much power, so that should be enough for now. And yeah, I'm about ready to flip the switch, I guess. See if I've done everything correct. Yeah, okay, there we go. Okay, main power is on. This breaker panel is on, and then this one goes on, and we have light. Okay, cool, that's working. That's working. It's not neat and tidy, but I am definitely a lot more protected right now, and this is the base from where we are going to route our new cabling. And then eventually this whole spaghetti will dissolve. We got a new power breaker board. That's the right name, a breaker board. So this is a glass fiber reinforcement which we're going to put in at selected places, the corners and potentially some other places. I've got a lot of this stuff, 15 meters, so okay, let's start with this wall. This wall is gonna, well, it's gonna join with the old stone wall. So that's a join, and then in the shower cabin I've got all corners basically covered with the reinforcement, also the floor. Not gonna render the floor, but we'll do that later. But all seams are covered with glass fiber. Also on this side of the shower cabin. Now we're gonna do the shower cabin with a waterproof cement. I'm gonna add a waterproofing agent to it. Hydrofuge. And that should provide a waterproof barrier coating in the shower. I'm probably gonna do a total of 2 coats of rendering, and then on top the Tadelact with wax, which will also provide a waterproof rendering. So gotta make sure that my shower cubicle is waterproof, right? Now I am ready to start mixing up some mortar. Now some of you will ask, well, are you gonna put on a coating first and then reinforcement? No, I'm not, because if you see the reinforcement, it's got more holes than fiberglass. Now the cement is all going through the holes, and it will completely embed the fiberglass in the coating. So I'm just gonna leave it where it is. The only thing I'll remove is the orange tape, of course. I'm just putting that in right now to make sure that it stays in place. I think I'm gonna start rendering here in this corner, because that's the easy bit, and then I get some room to practice before I end up in the shower cabin. Okay, I've got one coat on, the very first coat. Yeah, pretty okay with it. It's gonna be a fair amount of sanding tomorrow. Yeah, to get it a bit more smooth. Maybe another coat, maybe in some places another coat. I'm not sure, but yeah, well, it's 7:45. I've had a long day, but I got cement wherever I want to have cement, and this is white cement, although it looks brown. This is white cement with 1 cement on 2.5 sand, and 2.5 sand is basically 1 sand and 1.5 reclaimed mortar from parts that we took down. So yeah, this is gonna be light in color once it's dry. We'll see what it's tomorrow. Maybe I can't sand it yet, but we'll wait another day, huh? And I can actually start with the lime on the walls, which is also cool. Well, I'm gonna have a shower. No, I'm gonna spend some time with my chickies first, and then have a shower, and then have some food. See you tomorrow. Thank you for watching, thank you for liking, for subscribing, for commenting. A big thank you to the people below here who have contributed with a coffee. If you think I deserve a coffee, please see the link below or see the link in the description. And then let's go and have a look at my bathroom. Well, it looks like a Russian nightclub, if you ask me. Quite something. Have a look. The render has been sitting on here for 12 hours, sort of the last bits, and it looks very interesting. It's a bit shiny. It's got this because it's got this water, this additive in it that makes it waterproof. That has caused it to be a bit shiny, and it's like gold. I don't know why. I used white cement, and I used the leftover recovered mortar and some normal sand, and I used white cement instead of the the lesser expensive grey cement, because I figured, you know, having a white base coat would be better, because our final Cadillac coat is gonna be white. Well, a light color. It's gold. My wall is gold. It looks like I'm in some sort of a nightclub. Shiny gold. Who would have thought? It's gonna take quite a bit of sanding, and then a second coat. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of sanding. I wonder how hard it is to sand this stuff. It's gonna be a tough job, I'm sure. Yeah, and then a second coat. Nah, it's not gonna be a tough job, because I'm just doing a thick second coat on it, and work that really smooth, I guess. Anyway, we'll see next week. It's Friday today. I'm going to pick up Nadia from the airport later this afternoon. And I've got plenty of other stuff I need to do. I need to tidy up and prepare for her arrival, of course. So we just let this cure, and I do hope that this color becomes lighter, because I'm not so sure how many layers of Cadillac we would need to cover this. But anyway, I do have a feeling that this is a proper waterproof base for especially the shower stall. Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting project. To be continued.